What's going on, guys? It is Devin here with the first episode of the Godward journey, I think is what we're going to call this. I basically just want to use this platform to share my experience with growing closer to God, kind of almost break down a Bible verse every day and kind of just speak about what I'm going through in my journey of growing closer to Christ. But the first verse, the only verse we have today, is one that I got from a Bible app. It gives me a daily verse every day, and I feel like this one would be a perfect one to start on. So the verse is Acts 10:37. And I'll go ahead and read it for you guys. I'm looking down because I have my Bible here. It says, "You know the events that took place throughout all Judah, beginning from Galilee after the baptism that John preached." And the reason why I think this is so good to be the first verse and in the first episode of this is it shows that we all know the events that took place. Like, we all know the backstory behind Jesus and the main events and stories, but a lot of people, including myself in this, never really took the time to dive deeper into like the true meaning behind anything that is said in the Bible. And after hearing this verse, and I've been going through and like rereading the Bible and like really getting a true understanding of what is trying to be told through the word. And then even at the end, it shows that the beginning from Galilee after the baptism that John preached. And it kind of opened my eyes to want to do something like this, because the baptism that John preached is almost, John was sharing the word with the ones around him and sharing Christ through baptism. And that's kind of what I want to do with this platform. I want to bring you guys along my journey of growing closer with Christ and really diving deep into the true meaning behind the word and kind of break it down with you guys. And I'll just say there's the one thing that I've experienced that I'm trying to get better with, because I'm not perfect, but the one thing that I do that I have been working on is learning to not just spend time with God when I go to church. So like I'll go to church every Sunday, and then I was in this bad habit of that was the only time I spent with God. And it's like I felt really good that day, but then the other days it's just like almost lost in a sense, don't know what I'm doing. And learning to bring God with everything I do, everywhere I go. So now I pretty much don't go anywhere without my Bible, because you never know when you're going to need to speak to him or let him speak to you through the word. And that's something that I've really been toning in on now, that instead of just going to church for the hour or so every Sunday, I spend every morning reading the word. And I go to the gym in the morning, so I have a 15-minute car drive to the gym, and I always take that 15 minutes to just spend time with God, speak to him, whether it's through just talking to him, reading the word. Now when I'm in my work truck, like right now, I will listen to worship music during the day, because it's something that just really tones me down in a way. And it's almost just sitting here listening to this worship music and reading the word, it is the most fulfilling thing I have ever experienced in my life. Like, the first time I listened to worship music, I never really thought much of it, but then actually my therapist recommended, she's like, you should try listening to worship music, because from my experience it has been very helpful. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And that was the first thing I did. I went into my work truck and I listen to worship music in the morning. And the experience I had was so like out of this world. Like nothing that I can think of compares to the way that I felt. Like I completely broke down crying. It was like I just got this massive hug from God that I had never experienced. Like it was a true fulfilling love that I've never experienced before in my life. And it was the most amazing thing ever. It's so out of this world because I can feel love from my family and my friends around me, but absolutely nothing compares to feeling like you just got a massive hug from God. And I know in that moment, it felt like all of my worries and anxiety was just gone. Like it was lifted a massive weight off of my shoulders that I had been, like everything that I had been dealing with, going through bad things through the week. And once I did that and I got that hug from God, I just really felt like there was nothing else around me. I felt almost like I was just floating in air. Like it was the most fulfilling, amazing experience ever. And now I'll take time away from listening to worship music and listen to like some Christian rap or just some other music. And then I'll go back and listen to worship music whenever I'm like in a state of mind where it's like I feel numb, like I don't know what I'm doing kind of thing, or like I'm feeling lonely or depressed. And I'll sit in my room or sit in my work truck or my personal car and just listen to worship music, and it really feels like God is speaking to me. It's something that I never would have imagined. It's like I can't even really describe it because it was so like out of this world. And that is just the most amazing feeling ever. So now, like once I experienced that, I've really like toned in on like becoming as close to God as I physically can, because years past, like I've been a Christian ever since I was born. I was baptized as a Christian, and at a young age I was going to church every week. But it hit a point once I got into high school that I just really stopped. Like I'd go to Bible study class every Wednesday and I'd go to church every Sunday, but I was like just going through the motions. Like I was being forced to go, and it was something that I did not really want to do. And so once it hit high school and it was optional, I stopped going. And that's where things really turned for the worse. That was probably the lowest point in my life, where I just didn't even know what I was doing. I was doing a whole sinning like every other day or every day, and just not really knowing what I was doing, just kind of floating through life without any purpose. And just recently, like this year, I'd had some bad experiences, and it really toned me in. And it was actually one content creator that I found one of his podcasts to listen to, and it really opened my eyes to what I was doing, because I really had this point in my life where I just felt like something was missing. I felt like there was a gigantic void in my chest, and I'd spent all this time trying to fill it with worldly things like girls, alcohol, whatever, you name it. I was filling that void in my chest with worldly things. But after sitting down and really thinking about it and listening to some podcasts, I found that it was God that I was missing in my life this entire time. And now that I've really started to heal that void in my chest with God and really just handing my life over to Him, it has made me feel so much better about life. Like I feel like I have a purpose in life. I don't know what it is yet, because that has not been spoken to me yet. But just knowing that God has a plan for me, and that me opening Him, allowing Him back into my life and giving my life to Him, has just made life so much easier, honestly. Like I really didn't know what I was doing. Like I was struggling through every single day, not knowing what I was going to do the rest of the day, not what I was going to do tomorrow. But now I feel like there's no weight, there's no worry or stress or anxiety weighing on me. Like just handing my life over to him has opened my eyes to seizing every day and growing my faith with him every single day. Like there's a true purpose behind everything I do now, I feel like. And before, I never felt that way. And it is just the most amazing feeling ever. But it's still something that I really continue to try to work on. And it's still definitely a work in progress. I do still have my slip-ups, but it makes it a lot easier now. But that's gonna be it for now. I want to plan on doing this every day, but I need to stick to being consistent with it. But that will be all for the first episode. I'll see you guys next time.